Chris, welcome back to GuitarU.com, the best free guitar school and most in-depth guitar school on the internet. This lesson is an in-depth discussion on the use of bar chords and power chords for students who are recently or newly acquainted with them. If you are learning to play the guitar, one bit of advice I can give you is this. The lost art of learning to play the guitar is learning to play in the open position. That means learning to use the standard 15 chords that all beginners are shown. And I have discussed this in the very first lessons of this course. There are literally thousands of songs that employ 2, 3, or 4 of the basic beginner chords, or as I like to call them, the household chords. I once attended a clinic by a famous Nashville guy, and he said, "Kids, that's where the money is, playing down there." And man, is that true. If you're going to be in the guitar game, you're going to play down there a lot. So you really have to know all those great classic songs. And even a lot of the songs that they're listening to today. All based on that open position stuff. So that's the lost art of learning to play the guitar. Don't ignore it, know it, learn it, use it. Learn these 15 basic open string chords. Okay, you should know those 15 chords on that diagram. If you don't, just repeat some of the beginning lessons in this course. Now, bar chords, however, certainly offer a whole new dimension and a whole new palette to you if you're studying the guitar. When I learned to play them in the 70s, they were calling them power chords. They pack a lot of punch and a lot of wallop, but you and I both know that power chords are a little something different, and we'll get into that in a minute. Essentially, bar chords are just variations of open string chords. That's the most basic way to look at them. You can play a D chord here, play a D chord here, G chord here, G chord here, G chord there. That's the first thing you want to know. Also, there's just a lot of chords that you cannot play as open string chords. Many songs will have a lot of open string chords and 1 or 2 bar chords, so that's another reason why you have to know them. Say B minor, for example, F sharp 7, or even A flat major. All very common chords in rock and roll songwriting, and you gotta know them. Suppose you're playing D, C, and G in your rock band. That's basically what your singer's going to be doing, or the other guitar player, and certainly in any rock band situation with 2 guitar players, one's always more skilled than the next. So the more skilled guy has the job of creating textures and dynamics and different sections of the song using the bar chords. So if your singer can play this, at some point you may want to build up the dynamics and the intensity of the song just to fatten everything up for everybody. Another good example of this is a song called All Along the Watchtower by the great Bob Dylan. A minor, G, and F, as you must already know. And that song has become a real popular, standard favorite thing at jam sessions, and all kinds of rock bands do that song. Jimi Hendrix got a hold of that progression, and he played it something more like this. And it really made his recording of it, I think, the more recognizable and more classic version of the song. Not simply because he changed it from open string chords to bar chords, although that's a very good evaluation and oversimplification of the idea. I mean, he was the greatest guitar player in the history of rock and roll, probably, so that didn't hurt the recording any either. But the idea of changing the open string chords to bar chords is a very important one. So A minor, G, F can become A minor, G, F. As you study this lesson here at GuitarU.com, you'll be learning to play a few important chord progressions and cadences using the Root 5 and Root 6 system of thought, which is what I've taught you in this course so far. Most guitar players learn to negotiate, navigate, and understand guitar playing, and be able to cut the mustard when it comes to reading chord charts simply by knowing the names of every note on string 5 and 6 and being able to play a major and minor and dominant chord off of those notes on string 5 and 6. That's basically root 6 and root 5 thinking. That's the first line of defense in professional guitar playing in the rock and pop settings. Also in jazz and blues, of course. And we also have discussed the less popular convention of using movable chords with their root notes based on string 4 as well. Finally, in this lesson, I'm going to introduce the concept of power chords, which are the two-note versions of the bar chords, played on string 6 and 5, or string 5 and 4. And they're responsible for so many of the great licks that you know and love. Two-note power chords, so we're going to be getting into that. The other use of the two-note power chords is when you have the distortion on. If you're going to play this full-on bar chord, it doesn't sound so good with the distortion on because you can't hear me. But if I play a two-note chord, it gives everybody a lot more breathing room, and it creates a lot more space in that arrangement, and it gives you the fatness and the punch you're looking for without washing everybody out of the mix. This lesson is a good way to understand the previous two lessons of the course and apply what you have learned about playing chords and movable chords especially. Some people know how to play a lot of chords, but don't play very well. Some people always sound great, but they don't know anything. They don't know their theory, they don't know their bar chords, they don't know this, that, or the other thing. Of course, the situation I want you to be in is knowing a lot of chords and knowing how to use them, how to be musical. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. This is Karl at GuitarU.com. I'll see you in the next video.